It's hot in here.
It's hot everywhere, Dan. Spoiler alert.
It's hot everywhere.
Yeah, we're in real trouble with this whole global warming nonsense, I think.
We're dead.
Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's Hate Watching, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony, the movie talk about show that dares to go to the dark ends of the universe and then the dark ends of the dark horror monster universe and come back stronger, but also dead at the same time, but also riding a horse, but also reincarnating our friends, because that's a thing? What?
Our viewer count just went from 3 to 0, Dan. All right.
3 to 0.
I just want to say, the movie Talk About podcast is probably the best description I've ever heard, and I think I'm changing that right now to our official description.
Each week, one of us picks from the unimaginable amount of movies that there are out there, a single movie, except probably next week where we're picking 2 movies, but
sorry,
a single movie that we watch. Actually, I watched 2 movies this week for this movie. We pick a single movie, and then we talk about the movie. This week, Tony picked the movie.
No, you picked the movie, you dummy.
This week, I picked the movie. This one I've been itching to do for a long time, hence my picking it. It is.
To be fair, we both would have picked this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Mummy. Tom Cruise's The Mummy from 2017. And, I think we said this at the end of the last episode. This is the first movie we've ever done on this show that we have both seen the movie and disliked it so immensely that we are so happy to do this here because this movie needs such an ass whooping.
Listen, the movie doesn't need the ass whooping. The people who made this movie need to get their asses kicked because they destroyed my dreams.
They destroyed.
Have we never talked about how, listen, people like, they have the MCU. They love that connected universe. People have the DCEU. They don't love that connected universe, but some people do. A couple, I bet. My universe is the dark universe. That is the mecca of great content right there. I love monster movies. The Universal monsters, grew up with them. I love them. I adore them. When they were like, hey, we're going to make a connected universe. I was like, fuck yes. This is my jam. This is going to be my MCU. I'm so excited. All of the greatest things in history are going to come together. And none of that happened. It was awful. Terrible. They ruined it. They took a hot toddy all over my dreams, Dan.
So talk to me about Dracula Untold.
Fuck that movie, dude. Not as bad as this movie.
Did you see
I will say that. Of course I saw that movie. But then they were like, you know what? That movie doesn't count. We're going to restart the dark universe with the Mummy. How did they fuck it up twice? Are you kidding me?
But wait, didn't they do a Javier, what's his name, or somebody, werewolf?
Javier Bardem. They didn't end up doing it. That was on the slate.
Wait,
if you remember,
hold on. Didn't they do a werewolf movie?
They did a werewolf. They did the
movie.
Wolfman with Anthony Hopkins and the guy who mumbles all the time.
Yeah, that guy.
Benicio del Toro.
That wasn't part of the Dark Universe.
That was not. That was pre-Dark Universe. The movie has, it has some moments. There's this, I quote this movie all the time, and it goes like this. Terrible things, Lawrence. You've done terrible things. Anthony Hopkins. Great stuff. Movie's not great. But that was pre-Dark Universe. But Dracula Untold was like, hey, guys, we're starting a Dark Universe. And that movie sucked. It didn't make any sense. It was like, you know what? We're going to use Dracula, but we're going to throw away all of the Dracula lore, make it some sort of weird action war movie, and then just forget it to be like, fuck everybody who likes Dracula. Terrible movie. So then they were like, let's do the Mummy. And then they did the same thing. They were like, forget everything you know about the Mummy. We're going to make it shitty instead. Anyhow.
See, I kind of disagree with you. I think that I think that they didn't really throw everything away. I think they still kept the basic Mummy ideas, which is there's a mummy, and she wants to resurrect their lost love. There was a mummy who was a bad guy in the past. They got killed, because this is exactly what happened in Mummy 1999, which I rewatched.
That's good that you rewatched it. I should have, and I did not.
Mummy 1999. I loved it when it came out. I saw all the other ones. In your typical Lethal Weapon, they all got worse as it went along. And
strong disagree. Continue.
Tony's like, I am going to defend Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon 3. No,
Joe Pesci's incredible. Are you kidding me? They fuck you at the drive-thru. Oh God, I love those movies. But yeah,
so
the Mummy did not work that way.
They got worse and worse as time went by with the Mummy movie.
Yes,
which were like, because like they always do, they just did more of the exact same stuff because people liked it the first time. But so I was like, I will go back and rewatch 1999 Mummy after Tom Cruise's The Mummy, and I will see if I have the same emotional reaction to this movie.
Yeah,
I did not. I had a more positive reaction to the movie. I thought it was a better movie. I thought
that warms my heart.
I thought everything about it. I thought it was a perfect movie. You know why it was a perfect movie? Because it hit all its points, and you understood everything. You were like,
that would be important.
They would like have a line. Yeah, well, I mean, they'd give you the line, and then they do this. It's like comedy. It's like set up and payoff, set up and payoff. The movie is just packed with setup. He's like, I'm going to get you later, Benny. And actually,
and then he gets him later.
No, he doesn't. He tries to steal back later, and Benny gets himself. And you're like,
oh, Benny,
perfect. And there are a million things in that movie. There's one point at which Benny's trying to escape, and Brenden Frasier's character picks up a chair, throws it across the room, hits him, knocks him over, and then goes and manhandles him. And it's just like, it's so simple. Picks up a chair, throws it across the room, nails a guy. But you were just like, it was such a satisfying piece of action.
Yeah.
This movie has none of that. Nothing is satisfying in this movie.
Which is so bizarre to me. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree 100%. But what's weird to me is they do like these kind of Mission Impossible-esque set pieces. And for some reason, I didn't like them in this movie. I love Mission Impossible. Love it when they do. Like the plane crash in this movie where they're tossing around. I could care less. It's so weird to me. I was like, I don't know. Get out of the plane. I'm sick of this scene. Jump out. It's weird. I don't know why it didn't work. It just didn't work in this movie. This movie doesn't know what it wants to be. And that upsets me. Because this is supposed to be your cornerstone for this giant launch of a franchise. Bigger than a franchise, I guess. You don't even know what you're doing. And I read an article, again, believe everything you read on the internet, kids. It's all true. But I read this article with someone who was supposedly in the writer's room, and they were talking about how people couldn't even decide whether they wanted the monsters in the universe to be good or bad. Like, while they're writing The Mummy, they're like, should our monsters all be good or should they all be bad? Like, they couldn't even decide what side of the fence they were going to be on. It's unbelievable.
Well, and stupid Tom Cruise, he Tom Cruised all over this. Where he's all like, okay, now I'm going to scramble on the top of the building like a little scrambler, and then I'm going to scramble to the other one, and then I'm going to make some quippy comments because I'm Mr. Quippy, and then I'm going to write you some lines that are going to be like, oh, Tom, don't quip at me. Oh, you're a bad quippy person. And
Dan, there's a good chance that Tom's going to see this and hire you for his next movie. That was the perfect Tom Cruise movie there.
Tom Cruise, old, puffy, little bloated.
Which is, again, weird because he comes back in Mission Impossible 2 years later and he looks fucking great. So I don't know what was going on. Maybe he also hated this movie and was like, you know what? I'm going to spend the whole time at the snack table and just fucking give up.
No, he was Mr. in charge of this movie. That's the whole thing. This is the overreach movie where everyone was like, well, Tom kind of had to put his fingers in every pie and made every decision, and he kept rewriting the script and he kept making all these decisions, and it ended up with Tom Cruise is not a writer. Tom Cruise is a stupid actor. Go do your stupid acting and shut up.
He's a good actor, he's probably stupid.
He should shut up.
I'll agree.
Shut
up and do your job, actor.
Let a real writer write some words, and then you shut up and say those words.
Listen, I don't know if they had a real writer on this movie. In Tom's defense, he probably read it and was like, well, this is shit. What can we do to make it better? And I don't know. Hey, we don't know the original draft. He could have made it better. It could have been way worse. Who knows?
Could have been.
I'm giving my boy Tom Cruise the benefit of the doubt, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so I wrote, it's an hour and 50 minutes. I wrote Universal Home of Babies because they are the most coddling. We gotta, Steven Spielberg, we gotta be like, you good baby, Tom Cruise, you good baby.
Sure.
And then we go to the Dark Universe logo, which we're never going to see again because
and right there, that is the first sign that you're in trouble, in my opinion. Iron Man wasn't like pitched as the beginning of the MCU. They were like, let's do Iron Man. Let's see if people resonate with this. And they're like, oh shit, they did. Let's keep going. And then they just built blocks off of it. They weren't like, let's throw everything into this one movie, which is going to launch 50 movies. That's definitely going to work out.
You mean in Iron Man 1, they didn't create the Avengers and the Vision and Black Widow went back home to Russia? All those things didn't happen in one movie?
In the middle of the movie. It's so weird. It's like Mummy movie for like 30 minutes, Dark Universe movie for 30 minutes, and then they end with like a mashup. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
So, like any Mummy movie, we have to start with a flashback. And point number one, the Mummy girl's pretty hot. Not as hot as the 1990 Mummy girl, who's like beyond smoking hot. She's just like, your eyes fell out of your head when you saw this lady.
Not that this matters. I did not find her attractive.
I mean, she was attractive-ish. As opposed to the 1999 Mummy, where you were just like, okay, I'm abandoning my life and following her.
I'm quitting everything. Let's go, Mummy lady.
So Knights of the Templar come and steal the magic crystal, and then they bury the guy with the magic crystal.
I had two problems with the beginning of this movie. The first problem is the very beginning when they're putting the crypt into the thing, definitely a reshoot. Because there is no set there, Dan. They are just in a dark room. They're like, it was like 6 months later, and they're like, oh shit, we don't have anything that explains the beginning of the movie. Go to your garage, shoot something with black curtains. Terrible stuff. Awful stuff.
In his garage. Okay, so then this big digger that digs a hole, they find the thing, and we tip in that half of the space is flooded with water, i.e. we're going to have a swimming scene at some point in this stupid movie. And then in comes Dr. Jekyll. I'm in charge here. And then there's like the one guy that's like, no, I'm in charge. And you're like, who's the guy that's trying to take charge from Dr. Jekyll? Like, what is he's like, I was here first, so this is mine.
Right. I don't know who he is. It reminds me of the Spider-Man scene where it's like Michael Keaton's team is like picking up the alien stuff, and then the government comes in and it's like, get out. It reminds me of that, but we don't know who either of these parties are. And it's just like two random people underground. I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
Well, it's a whole thing of like, okay, write me a line where this guy is showing his dominance. And you're like, okay, yeah, I don't.
Okay, yeah.
So Dr. Jekyll takes charge, and then he voiceovers. Oh, and then we cut to the real.
Was there a voiceover in the original, Dan?
Oh yeah, the original has like 20 minutes. 1999. It has like 8 minutes of Egypt, and it was just so interesting how more adeptly they handled it. It was just handled just so much better. In this one, you're just like, I don't understand what's going on. I mean, it's super straightforward. It's like, the guy is bad. He's cheating with the girl. The girl, somebody gets killed. In this one, you're like, she slaughters her whole family, including babies. And then she has to stab someone with a magic knife to make a thing that's going to be her partner.
Her boyfriend.
Something, the Bucha Papa Chupa. And we're just like, what?
And then in the voiceover, Russell Crowe is like, and she became a monster. But she doesn't actually have any powers then, which made it very confusing when she woke up for me. And then she all of a sudden not only had powers, but she knew exactly how to use them. But she never used them before. She's been asleep for hundreds of years. She wakes up and she's like, oh, I know exactly what I need to do to get my regular form back. I don't understand the powers. Where did they come from? Because back when he's like, she became a monster, all she did was cut throats while people were sleeping. That is not a monster move. That's a little whiny baby move right there. Sneaking up, sucker punching people. Stupid.
So the magic dagger, she has tattoos and she has double eyes, and then they mummify her alive, and then they like, and she was hidden somewhere not in Egypt. Okay.
Great.
Sure.
Great.
So,
doesn't matter.
Fast forward to our time periods, Mesopotamia, better known as Iraq. We got soldiers destroying monuments, which is a thing that they do, which is very interesting. That's the whole thing, is that the fundamentalists think you can't have graven images, you can't have images of people, and so then they shoot up all the old, the Sphinx and those kind of things. Till you can.
I didn't know that. That's terrible.
Totally horrible thing. Horrible people being horrible, doing horrible stuff to their own culture. Whatever, you're an asshole. And then we have Tom
Shame
Cruise
on you.
up on the hill, and he and the guy from whatchamacallit,
Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson, who plays the Stooge, and they're guys that go and steal. They're in the army. Like,
yeah, apparently.
Full-time army guys. They go and they're supposed to be scouts, but they just go wherever they want and listen to no one, and then steal a bunch of things and then sell it to line their own pockets.
Yep,
So,
and yet somehow they're still in the army? What's going on here? That's a dishonorable discharge if I've ever heard of one.
we're going to talk about that in a second. In like what is the world's worst scene I've ever seen.
I think I already know, Dan.
Tom Cruise has stolen a map from some lady who we're going to meet later, unfortunately.
Oh, no, you didn't like her.
I mean, other than that she was garbage, no, I did not like her. And we'll talk about that later, too. So he has stolen this map, which looks like it's an ancient map, kind of. It looks like it was drawn in the 30s, but I guess it was drawn last week. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, if somebody's going to send you a map to a secret place, nowadays they'd fax it to you or they'd email it to you, and it would look.
Dan, they're not going to fax it to you, all right? This isn't 1994.
So they go down there, and they're all like, Tom Cruise just like, we're just going to do this thing. And they just roar down there, and then immediately 1,000 people are shooting at them.
Yep. Yep. There's not much to say about how stupid this is.
And then they get pinned down, and they call in an airstrike, and the airstrike blows up and opens a hole.
I thought this was your least favorite part, is when he calls in a fucking airstrike for just like a gag. He's basically, this is not a mission. If I was the army, and listen, I'm not, so I guess I can't say this for sure, but if someone called in an airstrike and I'm like, dude, I don't know where you are. I don't know if there are civilians there. I don't know anything about where you are because you're 10 clicks, which I don't know how far that is, away from where you're supposed to be. I'm not sending planes to blow stuff up, dude. Either get out or you're lost. I don't care, but you can't just blow shit up for no reason.
And it does seem like they're sending in an airstrike to like a village where probably there are
100%. Yeah.
So the airstrike somehow, I guess a building falls over and a sinkhole opens, and then
it's all terrible.
Then we see. I mean, it's like right in the middle of town. It's like about 6 feet of earth, and then like this giant,
and then a giant cavern.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Okay,
does it work?
Does it work? But of course, they completely survive, and then the rebel guys just like go, "We're gonna leave because we're afraid of America." So here comes his boss, Courtney B. Vance, who I'm sure has been in a lot of real good movies, and he spends the next couple minutes explaining exactly what it is they do. I know what you guys do. You're a bunch of criminals, and you do all these criminal things, and keep doing them. It was the most nonsensical.
So fire them.
No, not fire them. have them put in chains and dragged away like animals. But no, he's like, bop, 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 you're in charge of the site. Why don't you go see what you can steal, you criminals?
You criminals. Yes, it's very dumb. Very dumb.
Who could write this? Who is dumb enough to write this and say any of these words?
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm not putting it on Tom Cruise like I think you're about to. Not Tom Cruise.
He's trying to set up his character as this, I'm a rebel, I do what I want, and it's the dumbest characterization I've ever seen on any character ever.
I'll buy it. I agree. I mean, until we see another movie in which I think that it's worse. But right now, I think this is probably the bottom.
And the whole movie, Tom Cruise is like, I'm a rapscallion, I do's what I do's, I don't care about anyone, until the end of the movie where he's in love with this stupid woman. You know,
Are we able to talk about her yet? Because we have very different opinions on her.
she shows up, she walks up to
Hey,
me,
why is she there, Dan? Who is she? I don't understand who she is or why she's following the army to a place that they're not supposed to be. I don't understand why she's there.
Oh, well, why she's there is she works for Dr. Jekyll. Dr. Jekyll gave her the map based on the secret things in the tomb as to where they buried Amonkhet or whatever her name is. And so, I mean, you know, why she has the map that's available for him to steal and how he would know to steal this. You know, it's like, Tony, if you go into a bar, you look at a woman and say, yeah, that's the woman I'm going to steal the secret map from. How the fuck do you know she has a secret map? How, like,
well, you won't know until you try, Dan.
She's part of a secret organization of monster hunters. Like, she's going to...
So then why is she with the army? Like, I don't understand her affiliation with the army and yet also with Russell Crowe. I don't get it.
If it was the British Army, you'd be like, okay, maybe he has ties in the British Army. But none of this, you know, and they never even give you a line that explains any of this later.
No, that's why it's so frustrating to me.
So Courtney B. Vance is like, you've got an hour or two, you've got 2 hours, go down there and steal whatever you can.
Well, he doesn't say those exact words, Dan. Okay.
We're going to get to the first part of the movie that I liked.
Oh, okay.
Image of them scaling into that big hole. I was like, man, that hole is big. I like that. 12 seconds.
I liked that. Great stuff. Chalk it up as a win for the Mummy. Giant hole shot. Got it.
So now we're going to start dealing with all the dripping mercury. Somehow mercury is flowing out of the wall. You know what mercury is, Tony?
I mean, it's in your thermometers, but it's very bad. It's very bad. And they're so calm about it. He's like just dripping on his hands like, is this mercury? I think it drives you crazy and then kills you. Mercury. What's happening right now?
He is wearing a glove.
I mean, I know he's wearing a glove.
But if he wasn't, I'm surprised he was. They would go so far as to give him a glove as opposed to him just like, it's like
catching the mercury rain.
Just the physics of like the mercury flowing down and like maybe there's some world where the mercury would evaporate in the cold or the heat or something. I don't know, but if there was mercury evaporating and aerosoling in this cave,
you're dead.
They would all be dead instantaneously. And then they get there and there's this literal pool, hundreds and hundreds of gallons of mercury.
I was waiting for Tom to jump in. I was like, he's definitely going swimming in the mercury. I can feel it.
So, you know, somehow, then we have like my other favorite thing. She just says, get the lights. And then that's magic.
Huge lights. They're giant. Where did they come from? Get the lights. Come on.
And it's so great. In the original 1999 Mummy, they go down in there and she's screwing around with these big mirrors. And you're like, what is she doing? What is she doing? And then at a certain point, she gets down there and the mirrors reflect the sunlight down in the thing.
That's right. Oh, I remember that.
If you go back and rewatch The Mummy, 1999, you will see in every scene, they think about where the light is coming from. Every scene, they are carrying torches, they're relighting torches, they're walking over to braziers and lighting them, and it's incredible because they're not treating us like idiots. They don't just announce, "Let there be light," and then magic lights appear.
Clap on.
In this movie, everything happens as if by magic.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Why? And is it just that everyone's so focused on like the big picture that no one's actually paying attention to the scenes that they're making?
Oh.
I don't understand how there's so many mistakes and stupid things in this movie.
Because the movie's about they arbitrarily set up stuff like you've got 2 hours. Like in Indiana Jones, no one ever stands next to Indiana Jones and says, "You have 2 hours, Indy," and
Put in a time limit.
Yeah, because a time limit is like the most bullshit thing you can do to a character. It's just like I'm gonna introduce immediacy like it means something, and it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
and we feel that.
Yeah.
We feel that as an audience, you know.
Oh yeah, big time.
And in the 1999 Mummy, they spend days. They spend 2 days at that place.
Wait, because you got to excavate shit. It's a thing.
And they're doing stuff. The Americans are doing stuff. Everybody's doing stuff. Wow. In this thing, it's like, we got 5 minutes, so that makes it exciting.
Just shoot the rope. Sorry, spoiler alert for the next part of the scene.
Let's talk about the stupid woman. You liked her? Why did you want her to like?
I think you're looking at it the wrong way. I am just ranking the people in the movie. Okay? And to me, it goes Tom Cruise. Because I love Tom Cruise, and I'm not saying this is great Tom Cruise. This isn't like peak Tom Cruise. I'm saying the bar in this level is so low that even rotten Tom Cruise is still the best part of this movie to me. And then it's the lady, and then there's like a 10-mile gap, and there's everything else of the movie.
So wait, so you thought that Tom Cruise, when he was facing up against Russell Crowe, was like the better actor, the more he embodied his situation more?
Did you like Russell Crowe in this? Because Russell Crowe's a big point of contention for me in this movie.
Oh, interesting. I just thought Russell Crowe, I was like, there's an actor, and there's Tom Cruise, who's like this dumb American who's like,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, at least he's doing character work. Tom Cruise is like Tom Cruise, which is fine. But I like Tom Cruise. You know, so like I'm okay with it. I allow it. It's like when I watch a movie with The Rock. I'm not waiting for him to transform and anything else. I want to see The Rock. I love The Rock. Give me more Rock.
You mean in the middle of Rampage when they've stolen like 7 helicopters and they're like then driving down the highway? You're just like, I'll go there. It's The Rock.
Hey, I enjoyed Rampage. I teared up a little in Rampage. Great stuff.
The end of Rampage is very emotional, but there's like the whole middle part where they're just like traveling around the country.
Nonsense. For sure.
It's like, well, we got to do something in the second act. That's what we've chosen.
I just think that Russell Crowe was miscast in this role. That's all. Or maybe I don't care for Mr. Hyde. I don't know which one it is, to be honest.
We'll talk about that when we get there. But it felt like he was trying to do something. It felt like Tom Cruise was
sure.
I'm trapped in a maze and I got to figure a way out.
Yeah, he's Tom Cruise. He's Tom Cruise in it.
Always trapped in a maze. So, so the stupid woman. I mean, she is personality-less, characterless. There's nothing special about her. Like,
But she doesn't do the movie harm to me, which, as much as I love Jake Johnson, I feel like he's a detriment to this film. I don't know why he's in it, and there needs to be less of him.
So,
which not only story-wise, but also character-wise, because also bringing him back as a zombie friend a la Idle Hands, which did it way better 20 years ago, it's a horrible mistake.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Sorry. I'm jumping the gun.
I don't know Idle Hands. I've never seen that.
Idle Hands is a great little like horror comedy with Seth Green and some other people.
And the whole
it's great.
Coming back as a zombie / ghost is also first in American Werewolf in London, where
great.
Explored that. And this movie does that later and does it terribly and
horrible, just awful.
Okay, so stupid woman. So Jake's crawling around on the floor, stealing everything, and then she's yelling at Tom, "Don't steal anything, Tom!" And he's just like,
"No."
Like, well, are you surprised that you brought these garbage people with
These
you?
two thieves, like they call them thieves 4 or 5 times before they even go into the hole, and then they're like, "Hey, don't be thieves, don't do it." Stupid. They're gonna do it.
And
They're gonna
so
do it.
Tom Cruise, master thief. There's like this freaking rockin' ring right there that's gonna bring you $500,000. So what does he do? He shoots the rope that frees the monster from the prison.
Yeah, yeah.
Does he ever?
I mean, listen,
explain
I
why
would
he
do the
did that?
same thing.
Does he
What?
explain why he did that?
I mean, they do a thing where he looks at the rope and then he looks at the lever system and then he shoots it. That's about as close as an explanation as you're gonna get.
So what should have been is he should have heard a voice in his head that's her going like, "You
She
gotta do
calls to him.
this."
Yeah,
But she can't call to him because she's in prison.
she's in Mercury.
So he just does it because he's an asshole.
Yeah, he's a bad guy
Tom-
and a dumb guy.
He's Tom Cruise. He's an asshole.
Wait, you don't like Tom Cruise? Okay, let's clear something up. Do you like Tom Cruise?
Oh no, I hate it.
Oh,
Did you see
okay.
him do
This is explaining a lot to me.
Oh yeah, he's horrible. He's
Whoa,
a
whoa, whoa.
Scientologist, dance on the couch, tell people that they
Okay.
shouldn't, that people that are mentally ill shouldn't take their drugs because Tom Cruise knows everything. He doesn't know anything. He's an idiot actor.
Hold on. Okay. So now let's pull this apart real quickly. I mean Tom Cruise the actor, not Tom Cruise the human. Tom Cruise the
same
human is definitely an idiot. But Tom Cruise the actor is charismatic and cool. Right?
Used to be.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you've lost that Tom Cruise. You've lost that love and feeling. Top Gun reference. A+.
I watched that movie Night and Day, which I know you love probably.
I do love it. You're going to say you hate it.
I hated it. Oh God, this movie is an extension of that, where he's still playing that same guy that's just gonna wing it through any situation, and that's all gonna come out.
Okay.
At
At least he does cool stuff in that movie, though.
I found the Mission Impossible movies kind of pedestrian.
Oh, wow. Do you still watch them? Have you seen the last couple?
I mean, I watched the one with C. Thomas Howell, or whatever his name is, the dead guy, blonde dead guy.
Oh, not C. Thomas Howell. The good actor. Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, that was okay. Sorry.
Well, that movie's good because of Philip Seymour Hoffman. He is one of the best villains of all time. He's so good in that movie.
Chews it up, man.
And so what's interesting is it reminds me of this conversation where you're like, Russell Crowe's acting better than Tom Cruise. In that movie, it is so apparent how much better of an actor he is than Tom Cruise, but Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise, and I allow it. I don't know. It's just interesting. I can see the argument is what I'm saying. I just, I like Tom Cruise.
I have a hard time disassociating the horrible human being that Tom Cruise is from seeing him on screen.
I am one of the best compartmentalists you'll ever meet.
No, you're not.
That's what my wife says. No, I'm very good at separating the person from their art. I'm very good at that.
So when we know that Spider-Man has contracted for another movie, we're not able to disassociate that information from the movie?
Totally different. That has nothing to do with personalities. I'm saying I can see the character on the screen. But the problem is that I know he's coming back. The character itself is coming back. We should do a whole podcast on the MCU.
You're stupid.
You're mean.
So he shoots it, and then we have some bugs. And then he's like, "Those aren't dangerous bugs. Those are just camel spiders." Like, okay.
I don't even know what that is, but
camel spiders. It's like spiders aren't bugs or insects. They're like 8 legs, and camel spiders probably not that dangerous. Kind of.
So then, what actually happens to Jake Johnson? Because he does die, and I thought it was from the spider bite.
No.
Did I miss something in this movie?
You missed something.
Got it. Okay.
So he tries to shoot the insects. They're not insects. They're arachnid adjacent. I don't even know what they are.
Arachnid adjacent.
So
that's a good alliteration.
At this point, Tom Cruise is witched. Witched. As soon as she comes out of the Mercury, she's up for witching. She witches it. So we have this absurd thing where a helicopter pulls it out, and then we have a convoy through the desert with the helicopter. Then there's a sandstorm coming, and we put it on the big plane.
Which now that I know you don't watch the Mission Impossibles, this means less to you. But there is a Mission Impossible. I don't remember which one it was, if it comes before or after this. There is a giant sandstorm chase. And I was like, how are they doing the exact same thing right now? That is very confusing to me. And this is so much worse. It's so cool in Mission Impossible somehow. And in this movie, it was so dumb. I don't know. I was a little dumbfounded.
Tom Cruise ripping himself off badly.
It's weird, man.
So let's see. So here we go. The plane takes off, and I wrote, who's in charge? Why Tom Cruise do? Then we have one really cool shot of the plane taking off with the sandstorm behind it. That was the second thing I liked in this movie.
No, that was cool.
10-second shot.
Did something similar happen in the old one? I don't remember. I feel like I remember a face in the sand in the old one as well. Am I crazy? There is that
big face. They have like this little airplane that they have to. And the sandstorm's coming and it's enveloping them, and then she kisses the mummy, and then the sandstorm falls apart. Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful.
See, I thought I remember that. Okay.
Small character thing affecting big thing. Whoa! Wow.
What is character, Dan? I don't understand what you mean by that.
Exactly, because you've been watching this movie. I wrote Vale has bugs. I don't know why I wrote Vale has bugs.
He has bugs? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either. So, you're welcome bit. Oh, there's a whole you're welcome. She does, you're welcome. Oh, stupid.
Yeah,
good. You think of you think of anything but yourself. Oh, yeah. So then we do this little interplay of like, he's like, you should say, well, you're welcome for me having great sex with you. And she's all like, ugh.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about just real quickly this 15-second running bit that they do for the first like 30 minutes of this movie about how short the sex was. It's not. Why is this in this movie?
Oh,
it's not funny. It's not. I don't know. I was so annoyed with this whole thing. All right.
So Vale gets witched by the sarcophagus and goes over there, and that's when he dies, I think. Or maybe the bug did kill him. I don't know.
Listen, it's not clear. Let's just we'll leave it at that. But you're right. He does go to the sarcophagus, and it's like, is he trying to open it? Maybe
it's like banging on it.
Yeah. I don't.
So then he's dead, and he's in control, and so he goes over there and he stabs Courtney V. Bance, and then
which I laughed at. Did you laugh at that? Was it supposed to be funny? Yeah, because he does it like in this weird like because he's big like all zombie-fied or whatever, and the way that he does it, it's like he almost just kind of throws his arm at it as opposed to like putting muscle. I laughed really hard. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
So then Tom Cruise is holding a gun, and he's holding the gun like this.
Like this.
And you're just like, no, please don't do that. No.
This dude's forearms are so strong, Dan, that he has zero kickback when he shoots a gun like this. That's incredible. If I shot a gun like this, the gun would literally go through my forehead. That's how I would be dead.
And I think they're trying to say that he doesn't know how to use a gun or something.
Oh yeah, maybe but he's in the army, right? I don't know, dude. It was weird and silly.
And then the engine explodes and they get hit by 10,000 birds, and then they're rolling around in there, and then he's like, parachutes, we gotta find us some parachutes. And then he gets her a parachute and suits her up. This guy who has spent the entire movie talking about how he's the only one that matters, and he doesn't care about her. He cares about her now?
Well, but then they put a line later in the movie.
Yeah.
Did you remember this? And she was like, there's a good person in you because you saved me on that plane. You gave me the only parachute. And he's like, I thought there was another one. Which would be like a good callback if in this scene right now, he looked for another fucking parachute.
He stood there like...
He doesn't. He puts it on her, lets her go, and then he just rides down. He doesn't think there's a second parachute there. He doesn't even look. I was very upset. Very upset.
I think you saw two parachutes early in the tumble, though. So There you go. I think there was a second.
I agree, but he didn't look for it.
So he crashes, and then he's in the morgue, and he's uninjured, and he's dead, but now he's alive. Tony, why?
I don't get it. I don't understand. Is that supposed to tell me that he can't die as long as she wants to have sex with him? She is in The Mummy, obviously. Which, by the way, I hate that entire premise. The entire premise is this mummy lady wants to have sex with Tom Cruise.
No, she wants to stab him. She wants to stab him.
In order to make her lover, right?
Yeah. Stab.
Yeah. I'm out. I'm immediately out. I hate this storyline. Stupid. It's dumb. Anyhow, I don't know why he's able to be not dead.
So
because Jake Johnson's very dead, but also still alive. So why isn't Tom like a zombie and alive? I don't get it.
Well, Jake Johnson's just a spirit. He's just a spirit. There's nothing corporeal. He can't do anything.
Oh, interesting. Honestly, did not realize that.
Yeah, because he just disappears and he just poof, poof, poof.
I guess you're right.
So, he's like, "You're not dead, but you'll wish you were." Based on we don't understand.
So, but let's all just agree that the fact that Tom Cruise is naked, great stuff.
Not at all.
Makes the scene tolerable.
Tony's checking out Tom Cruise's ass, and people walk in, and he's like, "Ooh, I'm nude," as opposed to who
I wish.
Would be.
I wish that's
like,
what he would have said.
He'd be like, "Check it out, babe."
Well, but here's my problem with that: is the doctor and the lady walk in. And everyone is more surprised that he's naked than he's not dead. You put a toe tag and bagged him up. He is now walking around, and the only thing you're concerned about is the fact that you took off all of his clothes to wrap him up because he was dead. Doesn't make any sense to me.
So, Mummy crashed somewhere else. She's sucking people dry and coming back to life. We don't care. Let's see. Then we're in a bar. There's lots of booze. He's drinking hundreds of boozes for a reason we don't understand. It doesn't make any sense because he hasn't had booze in a while. At all. Then she knows everything and starts telling him everything about there being this dagger and a stone and there's magic and we've angered the gods. And you're like, what the fuck?
That upset me so much.
What? She's like a Western white person who does not believe barely in magic. Well, I guess she believes in magic.
But she's isn't she a scientist? And I understand that you can technically believe in both. I get it. But like, it just felt very out of character for her to all of a sudden be like, we've angered the gods. Like, what? Based on what? What are you talking about? I don't know. I hated all of this.
Now we have this nice long argument with Tom Cruise and Jake about him killing you and cursedness and you can't run.
And also, we don't really go on a journey of discovery in this movie. Everybody seems to already know all of the answers, except for Tom, obviously. But like, generally, we kind of discover these things together. We go on an adventure with these people. We don't do that here. Everyone's like, this is what's happening. Okay, see you later on the next one.
Tom Cruise's character has no agency in his own story.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the whole thing.
100%.
When Brenden Frasier's character picks up a chair and throws it across the room and knocks somebody over and then goes over there and gets information, he has agency in his adventure. Tom Cruise is...
And sex appeal. He's got both. I love old Brenden Fraser.
I would much rather have sex with old Brenden Fraser than any Tom Cruise. So he's freaking out. He runs out into the alley, and then a bunch of rats appear, and something's happening. And then we jump cut, and the stupid woman is like pulling him out of the street, which is a different street. And we don't know what happened.
Not a clue. I don't understand anything that happened. I don't even know how it progresses the story of the movie. I don't get
it. So he sees the girl, and then I didn't write this complete line down. She's like trying to explain stuff to him, and he's like, "Don't use any of your archaeological mumbo jumbo nomenclature." And you're just like,
"What?"
This is a guy who ostensibly has to study and find archaeologists to rip them off.
Yeah.
So he should not be like, why are you speaking all weird tongue stuff that I don't sciencely understand?
He should very much be in this like world. That should be his world because that's what they're telling us he does. But he's not. He's not.
He's somehow an outsider who's an insider who's an outsider who doesn't know what's happening and is afraid for himself. So then they go to church, and then he's like, how did I get here? And then she, like, the mummy shows up and she's going to kill him. And then they run away.
Is this where they drive away?
They drive away.
And they drive in a circle?
And that was one of the nice things. He's like, he's in your head, and he drives away, and then he's just right back at the church. I was like, well, there you go. She's she's controlling everything he does.
Which is great, but that's kind of it. This is kind of the only time we deal with that, really.
Well, we've kind of been dealing with it the whole time. He shot the rope because of her, probably. He's done everything because of her.
But he didn't. The movie's pretty clear that he didn't because the connection doesn't happen until she's out of Mercury.
Yeah, but how did she make him immortal for no reason automatically based on no ritual?
Okay, well, I agree with you there, but that's shoddy storytelling, okay? I'm just saying this is my favorite moment of the film.
When he drives back?
This is the movie I want to see.
It's not the movie you want to see.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because he's a mind-controlled character. If your primary character is mind-controlled.
But I want to watch. What I'm saying is, and then he's like, "Oh, I just drove in a circle. She's in my head," and then he escapes again. But I want to see him as a human, like dealing with fighting her off from the inside. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that would involve acting.
Maybe we should get Russell Crowe to do this part then, Dan. You son of a bitch.
So now they're driving away again, trying to get away, and this is the attack of the flying zombies. Somehow these zombies just keep flying onto the truck.
Where are they coming from?
The trees? I don't know.
The trees? I don't know.
It's just so stupid and unnecessary. Then they roll it over, and then boom, hundreds of fearless mummy hunters come from every direction and start shooting her with spears.
And this is the beginning of the end. We are at
somehow
we're at the 50-minute mark. I think I wrote it down. It's like the 50-minute mark, and all of a sudden we enter in a completely different fucking movie.
New movie.
What is happening?
We need less outside scenes. We need to start shooting inside. So let's take it inside.
And like whether you like the movie at this point or not, which I don't, but at least stuff is happening. Like there's been action scenes and things are happening. We then slam on the brakes at 50 minutes and we do 30 minutes of just talking in a room. I don't understand who thought this was a good idea. But you just stopped any momentum you had in the movie and we're just like, you know what? Fuck it. Pull the plug. This movie's not working. Let's try a different movie in the middle of this movie.
Dan Goodfield, the writer, is going to say, this is the part of the movie I enjoyed. Because people are just talking and we're not having to watch Tom Cruise do anything.
But listen, if you didn't like Tom Cruise, you shouldn't have seen this movie, Dan. But here's the thing. Like, if this was the beginning of the sequel, where now they're expanding the universe and we're kind of understanding more things, I'm okay with it. If this is the beginning of the movie that builds into something. This is the middle of an action movie where you were like, action scene, and let's talk for the next 20 minutes. That's not how you do things.
So let's see. What's his? So he gets there, and he's in Dr. Jekyll's lab. We walk through there. We see the creature from the Black Lagoon's hand. We see this big giant squid in a case. I like that. And then
for sure.
Dr. Jekyll has to inject himself, and so we understand that he's going to turn into the monster. I guess you, of course, knew instantly that he's going to.
But not really.
Later. So the mummy lady's chained up. We're at Prodigium, which is where they fight the evil. And he paid me to shoot. Oh yeah, Final Stone. She's learned English now, and she starts like, oh, your simple language is puny to someone as smart as me with my giant Egyptian brain. We're like, huh? She's like a scholar now? Oh, okay.
Huh?
Dr. Jekyll then drugs Tom Cruise. Then she controls a spider, and the spider crawls in a guy's brain, and then he's in control. And then
hold on. Let's not skate by that real quickly, because that spider crawls all the way up his neck, around his cheek, into the ear, and then he slaps at it. That spider crawled at him for at least 15 seconds before that guy even reacted. Not the case, I'll tell you that right now. Sometimes wind blows, and I'm like, spider! So you can't tell me that guy let a spider crawl all the way up into his ear without him noticing. That's bullshit.
See, Tony, I'm going to teach you something about movies. They're all actors. And you know what they do?
Actors!
The script says, have a spider crawl all over you. That's maybe if you didn't automatically slap the spider, you'd be better at your craft.
Listen, Dan.
Work on that.
If I went to an audition where they were like, the spider crawls all the way up your ear, I'd be like, no, sorry. You're looking for someone else. I'm not going to do this. This is terrible. And then I walk out the door.
Your movie's stupid. I will not be in it. I will not do this. Because
and then I never worked again.
Code,
That's right. Right. I'm sorry.
I can feel. So Henry needs more drugs, and then there's a big fight. I guess he and Tom Cruise are fighting, right?
Jekyll? Hyde. Technically Hyde.
Yeah, so Hyde. Talk about the Hyde makeup for me for a little while, Tony.
What is there to talk about? It's nothing. It's literally nothing. He just kind of changes the tone of his voice. That's all he does.
He's a little greener, too.
Like a little, like maybe he had rotten fish for lunch.
Well,
just a little.
It's like they put like one of those clear green gels on one of the lights, and
on one of the lights,
showing that on his face,
and then followed him around with it. It's like, okay, stay on Russell.
Okay,
it is.
It was Russell. Keep on Russell.
Whether or not, let me restart that. Most people did not like the wonderful movie Van Helsing with with Wolverine in it, right? But the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde in that movie turns into like a fucking monster, and he's like swinging from the rafters and breaking shit. It's cool. It's a cool thing. He turns into a monster. What is this guy turning into, Dan? Just like an angrier guy?
Tony.
It just sounds like maybe he needs a Snickers. You know, you're not acting like yourself, Russell. Here, have a Snickers. You remember those commercials?
What happens in the movie Van Helsing?
Well, they fight monsters, and Hugh Jackman's super cool. Kate Beckinsale's super hot. End of the movie.
So Dr. Jekyll is in Van Helsing.
Yeah, I believe he's the I haven't seen in a while, but I believe he's the first monster that Hugh Jackman captures.
He captures it. Really?
Yeah. There's like a rafter scene.
You're not thinking League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Correct, which is another movie we should do for this podcast, by the way.
Okay, well, I'm thinking in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, we have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and he starts as like a dude, and then he becomes the big rip dude.
Because that's what you do. That's what you do. 100%. Listen, we're going to do Van Helsing at some point.
We're going to do Van Helsing, because I don't remember that. But
I remember.
Once again, what you do with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, he has to become a different character. You can't just
he has to transform. I don't even know how do you do how do you make Jekyll and Hyde, but there's just no difference between them. I don't get it.
Okay, Tony. Now we're gonna talk about the prison system now. Okay.
Oh, I did not see this coming.
Okay, so we got all these bad people in prison, right? All these bad people in prison.
Sure.
Now, if I go and I knock out the power to the prison, do all the cells pop open and then the prisoners run free?
Only if you have the worst prison system ever. Because that's a pretty easy thing to do, I think. I mean, I don't know for sure, but if I were trying to break a friend out of prison and all I had to do was cut the power to the building, I feel like I could probably do it. I'm just saying.
And that's exactly what happens in this movie. We cut through the wires, and then all the doors pop open.
Which doesn't even make sense if you think about it, because they're either power locks or they're manual locks. If they're manual locks, nothing's changed. If they're power locks, you just cut the power. It literally cannot then open. Doesn't make any sense.
So I wrote parkour mummy. I guess the mummy does a bunch of parkour. Oh no, she does like ropes. So she's like,
she did like a cool chain, like climbs the chain, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Nice. Everything blows up, and I wrote she's hot. I guess she's kind of hot in this part, so I like that part.
So, I like that part. Okay, great.
So now we go into the sewers, and there's water. The stupid girl freaks out. Somehow Tom Cruise and her get split up. They're right next to each other, and then they're 6 miles apart.
And then they're not.
Yep. And then she's walking down. Did you realize that was like a subway tunnel?
No, I still don't realize that. Are you sure?
Small, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's just like a tunnel of some sort. It's not a subway. You can't fit a train in there.
Don't you remember the scene? She's walking, and then like somehow bonus zombie like creeps up on her. She's like going like this.
Oh, and then the train comes by. You're right. I did not remember that.
The tunnel seemed like it was about this big.
Yeah, 100%.
And then And there's a train, and the mummy zombie or whatever it is, it also gets off the tracks. It's like, I'm still coming.
It's very smart. Yeah.
Then we have a swimming scene. He swims, and there's zombies swimming after her, and the mummy lady has stolen the girl, and then she drowns her to death, and she's drowned. So,
yeah, she is dead, right?
She's super dead. Super duper super dead.
I have some questions then, but continue.
Then we get there, and then they fight, and then he steals the knife and breaks the stone and kills himself. And then he breaks.
How does that make any sense?
He breaks the stone, kills himself, and then he becomes the mummy.
How is that possible? So here's what I don't understand, Dan.
Okay.
The mummy's goal is to stab him with the thing so that he turns into a mummy.
No. She's going to stab him with the thing, and then he gets embodied by the spirit of Set, the evil god Set, which isn't exactly a mummy, I don't think, because she's not embodied by the spirit of evil god Set.
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know. She's got 2 eyes, and now he's got 2 eyes. So I don't understand.
So I guess,
but it feels. So I guess here's the thing. Her goal is to stab him with the dagger. So then he decides to stab himself with the dagger, which is what she wants. After breaking the gem, which is what is supposed to give him the power. I don't understand what happened. How did he become 2 eyes, 4 eyes?
Because he took the agency of his own existence and let Set into his life, I guess.
But how did he? But he does become that guy a little bit. But he broke the gem. So I just don't understand anything that happened at this climax. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense with the lore that they've set up.
More importantly, how did she become the mummy?
I mean, that's the best question you've asked this entire podcast. There's no answer.
So then he's like, then he sucks all the energy out of her, and so she's done. Like, wow, that was a very easy solution.
He was evil guy for like 1.2 seconds, and then he's able to fight it off. What? Why even do that then?
He wakes her up. So he wants to wake her up, and then he like goes into the afterlife and goes and gets her and brings her back. Is that what he does? And she's alive? I don't even remember this.
Is that what happens? Because she does see him in like the dream.
Yeah.
And there's like, and then she's awake. She wakes up. So I don't understand what happened.
I guess he has the power to sort of go into like the temporary holding zone of the afterlife, get souls, bring them back, put them in their bodies, in the case of Jake, what's his name? He just brings it back whole cloth, completely
Which doesn't make any sense.
with a new sexy, perfect body. He's not like a ghoul. He's just like,
Nope.
he's fine.
He's just fine. Yeah, he's just Jake Johnson from New Girl once again.
He runs away. Oh, he's like hiding it. So she's like there, and he's like hiding in the shadows. She's like, "Don't look at me. I'm a monster."
You're too loud, Dan, because this entire scene is done in whispers. Why? Why is this so quiet? It's not even movie whispers. You know what I mean? Like, the acting whispers are always like forced. They're like, oh, I'm whispering now, but they're not really whispering. This movie's like, I'm whispering and you can't hear me. I'm in the dark. What is happening? Why? Just talk, Tom. Just talk.
No,
I was livid.
Just shut up.
Shut up. Just don't talk. End the movie, guys.
And then he says, "I finally did good," or something like that. It's like,
which you didn't really, as far as I can tell.
So he runs away, and then he's in Egypt with Jake Johnson, and Russell Crowe's like, "Oh, well, maybe he'll be a for good." Okay, we got. God, I thought we were done with this movie. We're gonna.
No, you'll never be done with this movie, Dan.
So then we see him like riding in slow motion up a horse, dressed as a Bedouin, like adventure awaits, and you're like, okay, wait. So what kind of adventure awaits him? He's immortal. He's infinitely powered. He has to go suck people dry to stay alive, I assume, to use them.
Yeah, that sounds like a great adventure.
What's he going to do?
Just killing people and stealing things. That's what he's going to do.
Wait, what? Is he going to go fight Frankenstein? I don't understand.
See, this is a great question that the Dark Universe will never answer. Is what was the goal of making Tom Cruise the Mummy? What is supposed to happen? I don't know where this story goes from here. I don't have a clue. But it's dumb. Maybe I'll tell you that.
Maybe he forms like a research center and they cure cancer. Maybe that's what he's going to do.
That would be great. I would love that ending. So, really nice.
We're going to go back for 1 second and we're going to revisit what Russell Crowe wants. What Russell Crowe wants is he wants to take the mummy lady. Basically, he wanted to go get her so he could bring her out here so that he could bring her back to life so that he could kill her, which would then...
And dissect her.
Then dissect her, which would get rid of evil.
Or something.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, Dan. It makes zero sense.
Because I guess that's the whole thing is Russell Crowe's character is like the proactive character, right? And you can't have a proactive character in horror. Their proactiveness can't be to bring evil back to life so I can kill evil. That doesn't work.
Well, you're right about that, Dan.
It's like every Doctor Who episode you've ever seen is the bad guy's trying to do the bad guy thing, and Doctor Who is there to try and stop him from doing bad guy.
They're doing the good guy thing. They're doing the bad guy thing. It's, it's classic.
So Tom Cruise has no agency.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe's agency is to try to bring
too much.
The evil back into the world so that he can kill the thing he brought back into the world that caused a much more evil on the way to bring it.
Yeah. And then the woman, is just there. So 3 great characters at the center of this film.
And then Jake Johnson's like, I'm going to tell you it's just bad.
I'm choosing to believe he is not in this movie. I've erased him from my memory.
He is Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse, and that is all he is.
So good. He's so good in that. Yeah. Great movie.
Any other things you want to say about the Dark Universe, Tony?
Just in general, the Dark Universe. Again, I was so excited about this. I still believe you can make this happen. If you cannot use any of these movies, you got to start fresh. But these monsters are classic. They're the best. They're the best monsters. I love them so much. I grew up with them, and I want to see them together again. The only other time I've seen them all together again? The Monster Squad, the greatest film in cinematic history. Imagine if we got to that again, but like an adult version of the Monster Squad. Fuck yes.
A lot of nudity.
Sorry. So much nudity. Wolfman. Yeah. Yes, please.
Open up. Talking about nards. And this is what I'm going to say is the 1999 Mummy, what happens is they go there in search of knowledge, they accidentally unleash darkness, and then it's their responsibility to figure out how to undo the darkness.
Great.
Wow.
What a great movie.
Ooh, so hard to figure out how that is. Is Tom Cruise, he's an asshole stealer person. He goes there, he accidentally unleashes the evil, and then he realizes he's the only one that has the tools to try to solve the problem. But no, instead, he is an asshole stealer who stays an asshole stealer and then falls in love with someone for no reason. And
I like
still doesn't
stealer.
Then sort of
That's good.
kills himself to save her, but really just
does he?
He can become a mummy.
Yeah, he's really just giving himself ultimate power if we're really thinking about it.
So, Tony, tell us about something you liked this week.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness we're moving on. I want to say two things.
Sure.
One of them is the third season of Titans just dropped. The first 3 episodes dropped yesterday, I want to say. I watched one. It's great. I love that show. I'm so glad that even though DC Universe crash and burned, the HBO Max picked it up and let it keep going. I love that show. And then Heels premieres tomorrow, and I am
Tony's very
so excited. I'm so excited. It looks like it's gonna be a show right out of my life, only with Stephen Amell, who is beautiful, and I'm very excited about
Stephen Amell's gonna play Serial Head, and Tony's gonna lose his mind.
Serial Man. Come on, Dan. And if you don't know what he's talking about, check out Wrestling Pro Wrestling on Twitch and YouTube. See you there, guys.
I am picking a very controversial movie called The Hunt.
I'm gonna Google it real quick. I don't know what that is.
What this movie was is this was the movie that Damon Lindelof and Nick Hughes or whatever his buddy they made, and the whole idea was rich blue state people hunting red state people. And I remember reading about it and going like, okay. And them sort of talking about it. I don't know. Did you ever watch the Watchmen HBO series?
Yes. Yeah.
It did a lot of, I loved it because it did a lot of things where it called into question everything. You know, it made Rorschach a hero to the racists. And that drove everyone crazy because we all grew up loving Rorschach, even though he's a psychopath. Right. So it sort of dealt with a lot of things. You know, they dealt with reparations in there, but they sort of were basically saying reparations were a bad thing.
Okay.
You know, everything was layered. And this movie is sort of similar. Is the red state people are kind of red state people, and the blue state people are pain in the ass blue state people, and then they kill each other. And the one main character that this movie's about is sort of caught in the middle, and she kills everybody.
Cool.
And it's Betty Gilpin.
Yep. Okay.
She's incredible. She just walks. You know, this movie is sort of pedestrian. It's a Blumhouse movie. She walks.
I do like Blumhouse movies.
She is just so good and just plays this really strange character. I loved it. It was an hour and a half. It was tight. It just did what it was there to do.
I mean, I'm just looking at the cast right now, and I love the cast. Emma Roberts, Ethan Suplee, Ike Barinholtz, Justin Hartley. I like all of those people.
Everybody's great. Everybody does a good job. Hilary Swank as the big bad.
Yeah.
And, you know, we get the big face-off at the end. And there's just a couple really nice twists in it that are super interesting. And, yeah.
Where is it? Where can I find it?
It's either on Netflix or on Hulu, or it's free somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it might have been on since March or whatever. I just found it and I was like, oh, okay. I remember reading about this. I'm going to watch it. But Betty she is just sort of cranked up and just a really nice character who's very smart and who they don't over-explain her at all. And it's really nice because you see all, like Tom Cruise's character is like, let me talk about everything. It's like, just
Yes.
if the writer and the actor know what's going on, they're going to tell us. They're going to tell us a story in their looks and their.
Yeah, and we'll know. We'll get it.
We're going to get it. And this movie, she does that in spades, and it was just so pleasant after Tom Cruise just like not doing it in spades. And just trying to play the same old
poor
song.
Tom Cruise.
Playing the same old song. So, Tony, what are we going to do next week for the show?
All right. Next week, it's not really a mystery. Dan already knows this. We talked about it earlier. I finally saw The Suicide Squad 2021. I have some thoughts. So what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of a squad versus squad. We're going to rewatch the 2017? I don't remember now.
Could be.
The old Suicide Squad, the superior Suicide Squad, Will Smith's Suicide Squad, and we're gonna dissect that one, but then also talk a lot about this new one. At least I am, because the trash level of it.
The trash level of it. I have a lot to say about it too. Which, yeah, I think it'll be an interesting conversation about a movie that's not controversial at all. My wife had to turn it off, the new one.
Oh, Shannon, I love you.
She got very angry. She was very angry at the movie.
Oh, man, we should have her on the podcast next week.
I will
instead of you.
Why she was, and
yes, please.
Why she was absolutely correct about it. And
oh, great.
Yeah. But James Gunn, he did Slither or whatever that movie was, right? Squishy or whatever it was.
Did he? I don't remember.
The movie where with Nathan Fillion.
That's Nathan Fillion, right? Yeah.
He did that.
Yep,
I love that movie.
I mean, I like a lot of what he does. I mean, I love Guardians. I think Guardians is great.
Yep. He sort of reestablished the whole tone of the Marvel Universe with Guardians that has continued on in a really good way. I think he kind of got away from that with this a little bit too.
Yeah, it's not going to work out for the DCEU.
But they're going to make a lot of money. So,
sure.
This has been Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. If you like what you see, subscribe, comment, like, thumbs up, thumbs down, do something with your thumbs. And we'll be back next week with another show.
Yeah. Squad versus squad, baby.
Squad versus squad, squad versus squad, squad versus squad.
We'll see you there. Bye, everybody.
Hey, watch it!